YouTube, there are a couple topics that whenever I post videos about them, there's always people to weigh in with personal experiences, and sometimes they have different opinions than mine. One of which is AceVR. So I want to talk through it today. I posted a video, and there's been some comments that I think are worth talking about. And I recently had a conversation with a friend that I'll be a little bit vague about, but share also because I think um, it's important. So first off, I guess the story. I interact with a lot of military and law enforcement, and so I have a friend that I trust 100% what they have to say in kind of a leadership position with training, and we were talking through. He mentioned AceVR to me while we were sitting around just having lunch, and I was like, hey, I explain my thoughts. I'm a little bit skeptical of a lot of things, especially discount codes, which I'll elaborate more on in the future. I think I'm not saying it's a pyramid scheme. I just don't like the look. But anyway, so it's like enough about me. What do you think? So what he had to say was they'd bought some and had some people in training that were away from not able to take a firearm with them, so in like a hotel room or traveling kind of thing, use AceVR as a supplement to training when they could not have a real firearm with them, either to dry fire or live fire. He said the results looked pretty good so far, but we had the conversation back and forth, was like, are these guys already shooters? And sometimes you just encounter it, whether military, law enforcement, or just civilian world. Sometimes people just get it. Or a different way of saying, there's some people you don't have to tell them twice either. And I don't mean that as in a don't make me tell you again kind of way. There's just some people just naturally, they pick up everything. You explain something to them one time, maybe they can't implement it right off the bat, but they'll remember, or things just click for them. And if it was building something, if it was shooting, driving a car, whatever, it's like, hey, let me teach you how to drive a manual transmission car. And then instantly someone just gets it, but they've never had exposure to that before. I've seen people do that with shooting, where you just show them, again, they don't have any bad habits. You just explain what's going on, what you want them to do, and they just get it. So anyway, back to the story. It's tough to say if these were people that just get it, because just knowing kind of how the hiring process works, where my friend is, it's going to be very qualified applicants. So it's not like it's just random people you're picking off the street. But anyway, I think it'll be interesting to see just in the future. I'm sure more departments use it, more military places use it. Just what feedback I get and what people have to say. So I think it's a fun conversation to have. The friend that I was talking about, he said so far the results looked favorable, but it's tough to say with how good that that group of guys are. So maybe in future classes or training groups types of thing to see how it goes over. But I think it's an interesting conversation. I'm open to the fact I don't know everything, but there are some things about AceVR that make me a little bit skeptical. And but anyway, I want to talk through the comments. So that's what we're going to do next. First one, I have, let's see, I have laser ammo shooting range, which must be a product, and Ace. In my opinion, Ace is much better. I feel that Ace is beneficial if you know how to use it. I'm shooting irons and started to learn a dot and Ace, and it works. But using it from a holster with grip enhancer, oh, I said but, I think it meant I. I'm using it from a holster with grip enhancer to make sure I can grip with my weak hand as strong as I would be in live fire, which is good, that makes sense. Also, Ace is very beneficial for my 8-year-old to learn how to shoot, since I'm unable to observe him through POV on a tablet and from third-person view. So that makes sense. You're able to see everything that the son does, or the kid, I guess, and like muzzle control, what they see, all that stuff. That makes sense. He's really improved his shooting. Let's see. Most of the times after practice, I grab my real gun to do it for 10 minutes of dry fire. That makes sense. Also, before using Ace, you need to figure out what kind of grip works for you in real practice, then apply the same technique to Ace. That's good. So this person's acknowledging the gun won't punish you if you grip the gun properly. So you need to, this makes sense, finding out how to grip the gun in real training, then when you use Ace, making sure you apply your same grip, because the game's not going to punish you if you don't grip it properly. So his conclusion is, so in my opinion, Ace is a good tool for practice, if you're aware of its traps and you know how to avoid them. It can't replace live fire, but it can improve skill if used correctly. I think the most I've gained is better visual skill using YouTube video from you and Ben, and then practice it in Ace. So I think he's talking about like a technique or something Ben and I have talked about on YouTube. Ben Steger, for people not familiar, I'm sure people are. And then practice with whatever that technique or thing not to do in Ace. That makes sense. The last sentence I find interesting, and I understand why he did it, but I want to talk through it. The last sentence is, by the way, I am not paid by anyone. And I think that's important because honestly, people that have, well, I've had several comments or people message me like, you should talk to this person. They're a big promoter of AceVR. It's like, yeah, dude, they have a discount code. Of course they're going to promote it. They're getting paid money. Duh. Like, no one's going to say, yeah, I'm getting paid by Ace, but I don't like the product. Because then they wouldn't have a code. Well, I've talked about this previously, but just briefly. Discount codes, in my opinion, cheapen your opinions a little bit. So, for example, this has never happened, but let's say Walther Firearms said they want to give me $10 for everyone that buys a Walther pistol and uses my code, and the person buying it gets $10 off for a free magazine or something. Well, I've been shooting Walther pistols for several years. I've got maybe 8 of them. I've got a few for free, but I think that was 2. 1 poly and 1 steel gun. The rest I've all paid either retail or dealer costs because I have a friend with an FFL. But otherwise, like, if I started promoting Walther pistols and using a discount code, does that cheapen my opinion of them compared to being transparent? Yeah, I've got a few for free. I've paid for most of them. And then not really having anything hung over my head or not owing anyone anything to need to sell something or trying to get paid. And I just don't like the look. Very flattered. I've had a few opportunities over the years for discount codes, one of which was with firearms, where I was flattered I even got asked. But basically, I would use that firearm specifically for at least a niche of training, and I'd get as many guns as I wanted. So if I need a couple practice guns, match, whatever, multiple guns, no issues, and I would have a discount code. And then just, to talk about the gun and being willing to show the guns to people that want to shoot it and that kind of stuff. Be an ambassador. They didn't use that verbiage, but that kind of thing for the company. And then when my discount code was used, I'd get a kickback. So I get free guns and some money. Super flattered. But that wasn't really a good fit for me because I like shooting a variety of different guns. And I don't really want to owe anyone anything. I don't know. I'd feel like a used car salesman if I needed to add, like, use my discount code at checkout. There's some even Instagram pages where it's like, hey, look at my class schedule, and then underneath, if I have to flip up more than once or twice to get past all the discount codes, it's tough to take that person seriously because obviously they're getting paid off each one of those links. Instead, I'd rather just be like, hey, I use this pistol, I really like it, this is why, here's a few things I don't like it. And if the company does or doesn't like it, it doesn't matter to me at all. Well, like being on a shooting team, I shouldn't say anything, but I will anyway. It'd be like being on a shooting team where the gun company is in charge of my financial freedom or well-being, but them going through a bunch of lawsuits and knowing like people would message me like, hey, what about this? You shoot this gun. Are these things true or whatever? I just don't want to deal with that stuff. So I kind of like being a free agent in that way. And that's my thoughts on discount codes anyway, because from time to time, companies do send me stuff for free. Be transparent. Hey, I paid for this. Hey, I didn't. And either way, like somebody could send me something for free, but if I don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it. So, or maybe I'll talk about it, but just I won't give a super glowing review. But at any rate, that's kind of discount codes. So I've had several comments saying either DMs or I've seen them in comments or in the YouTube comments where it's like, hey, you should have this person on to talk about it. It's like, yeah, they're getting paid. Of course they're going to tell you how great it is. They're not going to tell you the bad things. Like, it's kind of tough to take people seriously when they have a discount code. I'm not saying your integrity's for sale, but there are some people I suspect that's the case. I'm not saying everyone with the AceVR code. Another comment. I rarely, if ever, disagree with Joel. Like Ben, he's got so much experience and insight, it's difficult to critique just about anything they say other than personal preference type things. Well, appreciate you saying that. I have AceVR and don't use it very often, but what I do use it for is movement training. It has a plethora of USPSA stages that are set up identically to the stages, which I assume it means, I think what he's saying is you set up in your basement or your VR area to have the same measurements as what the stage is in real life. I mean, it's a classifier. It says you physically run the entire stage with accurate distances by picking a few of those with areas you need to work on. You can use them over and over again to work on movement. And because you record your shots, it's difficult to cheat it and just run to a position and sling the gun around. As such, you're better able to evaluate your training and progress because you also know how your shots were. Just my 2 cents. So anyway, that makes sense. I like that. Let's see. What else we got? A question about dry fire mags. I like to use them. So for dry fire magazines, I use just real magazines. Well, I've got a couple over there, but in my dry fire area, I use just regular magazines that I load with dummy ammo. So I load, since I reload pistol ammunition, it's just a deprimed case with a bullet, so a projectile already seated and crimped and all that stuff. But no powder, no primer, so it feels the same weight as what real ammunition does, but it's completely safe. And for those, I like doing something, if you have the option, a different color or something that doesn't match. So for example, my friend Nick Young, he asked me about load rifle ammo. I was like, hey, could you make me some dummy rounds? Yep, easy. So when I loaded him dummy ammo, I just looked at my bench, like what's the goofiest bullets I had, and I had some VMAX bullets, Hornady ballistic tips left over. So I loaded him dummy rounds with VMAX because he didn't ask me to. It's like he doesn't normally shoot VMAX bullets. So then looking at those, it's super easy. Obviously, there's no powder, no primer in them, but you can just look at those. Oh, those are way different than his other ammo, and it's super easy to tell that that's dummy ammo because it wouldn't blend in with everything else. Anyway, if you don't reload, Billy Barden, I think he's spectrain_NC maybe on Instagram. He does sell dummy ammo also, which is just weighted bullets that he's reloaded. So that's a good product if that's something you're looking for. So let's see. This one's a bit of a long comment. Lowly BA class opinion here, should take it with a grain of salt. I agree overall on ACE, but in my experience, I've gotten a lot of benefit from it on a few fronts. I think the benefits of ACE being a part of your training are really only there if you're on the newer end of the sport and have the discipline to frame it appropriately and disregard the gamification of it. I've caught myself multiple times trying to win the game rather than focusing on the specific thing I want to accomplish. That's a good point. I don't know if I talked about that previously or not. I was at a friend of mine, we're at kind of a Christmas party thing. He had wood set up in his basement. And then it's a big basement, and on his, I'm not going to get all this stuff right, but like he had his phone. You have to run the app through your phone to the Oculus, the headset thing. And then he had that screen mirrored on a big screen TV. So then from the cheap seats, everyone sitting down could see what the person shooting was doing. And when I was doing it, there was some expectation for me to do well on it, which of course it's fun. And so I would do the drill and then the exercise. I'd get a time. Hey, let's try it again. And then it's easy to fall in the temptation of, especially like the steel ones, it's pop, 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 and just trying to kind of rail on it, going a little bit zero or hero just to see what I could get away with. Which of course, if you're shooting a qualification, a classifier, and USPSA or forced score in a match or real life, whatever, you wouldn't want to shoot that way. So yeah, I mean, maybe it could tempt you. It's so easy to hit the reset button and just go bananas a bit. So that's important to talk about. His next point, speed inoculation. While obviously not 100% accurate, ACE having classifiers allow me to experience what the speed has to be to get higher class runs. It has started to translate to live performance for me. Just had my first M class run with a new classifier system this past weekend, which is awesome. Entries and exits, got a lot of value here. The quick reset ability of the stages. If I have the discipline to not care about the game score, lets me focus on particular entries and exits that I need to improve coming out of matches. Oh, that's good. Like reading between the lines, I'm guessing this is something that's predisposed to be a little bit faster but less accountable. It's the way I'm reading this. So this has been him applying self-control to make sure he waits until the sight's there before he starts shooting and not just spraying bullets trying to jam up a high score. Maybe I'm projecting because that's something that I would be tempted to do. I mean, even in training. Yesterday I was on the range, and towards the end of the training session, I was like, all right, cool. I'm shooting very tighty shooting now. I've got, well, to frame this a little bit, I'll be training with cops all next week. So kind of the week before that, I normally shoot just, it'll be good, but, high accountability shooting. Charlies and deltas. Once in a while, Charlie's okay. Delta's not okay. Misses aren't okay. And just really working on being accountable, drawing from a retention holster, using hot ammo, like all that kind of junk. So anyway, at the end of practice yesterday, I was like, hey, let's push down the gas a little bit and see how hard I can go in this drill, because it's fun to, try to shred and push your boundaries, knowing that, hey, I might end up with a miss or a delta, but let's see what I can get away with. So anyway, reading through this guy's comment, I think this is ingraining discipline for him. His next point, movement, would say the training experience at Ace is pretty dang close to the same value of Lion and Dry Fire. He has the space to actually move around. He has a basement that he could fit almost every stage into, which has been very beneficial to combine with the above. Swingers, movers being newer, I haven't seen every type of mover that Ace has yet. Getting to practice on them, even if not 100% accurate, is a huge confidence boost that has at least been exposed to them before, since he has the ability to purchase and practice them. I agree about that. My club will have access to the prop shed where I could pull out the swingers and movers and that kind of stuff. The last time I think I practiced on a swinger or set one up in practice was when I practiced with my friend Cody Axton, and that's been easily, it's got to be more than 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. Just because it's a hassle to set them up. They're slow to reset, so I get that. Like, it's a pain to set them out. Anytime I do Ace, I'm pairing it with Dry Fire before after to not lose the connection to my actual gun. As a process, I'm fully expecting the training value to diminish and probably go away entirely, but throwing my 2 cents in for those that have just caught the competition bug. No, that's good. So, like, to summarize or my read of it, he's still getting up to speed, but he's getting a lot of value from being exposed to new things. And I think even as like somebody new to this is really good, because he's got awareness that some things are not the same as what live fire shooting is. That's interesting. Just 2 random comments I picked back to back are talking about doing dry fire with a real gun before or after to make sure that you remember how to grip the gun properly, because the game's not punishing you when you're not gripping it hard. So I think that's good. Let's see. When properly used, Ace exceptional for vision training. There are people who chase the leaderboard in the game at all costs. They're just squirting bullets and hoping to hook up for one good run. I agree with that. Which I think will probably damage their ability to shoot real ammo at a high level. I mean, that's kind of great minds think alike. I have not read through all these, but that's good timing. Because yes, I agree with that. I think that's a danger, is to be accountable and treat it just like practice. Because if you go on the range and you have, let's say I go to the range, I'll be going to the range today. Say I take 400 rounds with me. I want to make sure I'm accountable with all those 400 rounds, and it's easy to just start squirting bullets and not being accountable. The same thing had happened with live ammo and with dry fire or AceVR. It's just important to be accountable whenever you're shooting. Let's see. I love my 2 denarii. VR, like Ace, has helped me tremendously in training, vision, and transitions. I love it, but wouldn't give it up. It supplements my dry fire with, yes, Mantis. So he uses Mantis also, but he doesn't have a laser academy. He uses dry fire mag or the double alpha mag. So I think it's talking about weighted magazines. I'm not going to make GM anytime soon, but I've seen marked improvement. Granted, I'm just dipping my toes in the competitive shooting for what it's worth. By the way, my discount code is, oh, love it. It's like LOLJK. I definitely wouldn't say is Ace's Duck Hunt, though. That's too funny. So yes, more people joking about discount codes. Again, I'm just scrolling through and just reading them next to each other. So that's very funny that several people are joking about discount codes, because, I mean, you do sound like a used car salesman. Next one. I don't know. I find Ace to be a simulator, not a game. I can't get to an outdoor range often, and Daily Ace has taken my vision to another level, but fully agree with the laser cartridges. Okay, so he likes that, but he agrees with laser cartridges. What I talked about, I think he said, I'll finish his statement. I got sucked into that when I first started. It helped with the basic, but it hit a wall quickly and can definitely lead to bad habits. So what I was talking about was the lasers you put in your gun or the SIRT type pistols. When you pull the trigger, it projects a laser or puts a dot or a laser on your target. That's bad because people start looking for the dots on the targets and kind of ignore their sights and everything else. I think it's a bad habit. The SIRT type pistols that project the laser out, I would just put a piece of tape or disable the laser. Because the idea themselves of having a weighted pistol, or I think some of them have a removable magazine, that stuff's all fine. I just don't want to be looking, hoping for a laser to appear. It'd be the equivalent of looking for bullet holes when you're shooting live ammo. Just not something you really want to get into. Well, one more because this caught my attention. Last question, or last comment. There's a slug of them. I got AceVR due to a deployment and not being able to shoot / dry fire with my pistols for almost a year. Playing around with it in the months before leaving, I went through mid C class to high B with about 25,000 in quote rounds fired through it. It's the same weight as my staccato P and has helped push my vision fundamentals to a higher level, as well as practice moving while shooting and entry and exits. Definitely not a replacement for dry fire, but a good augment and more fun and engaging. No, I mean, that makes sense. I don't think anyone here it's not like anybody's too much disagreeing with anything I've said. It sounds like I'm just kind of glancing through the next, I said, what was a quick one. The VR systems look fun. That is pretty much where I would leave it in the fun category. I wouldn't put any weight on it as an actual training tool. So, like, I won't go that hard. I do think there's some training to it. There's just so many pitfalls that make me concerned. Because, like I said, the fact that the pistol doesn't recoil like a real gun. You can go for the zero or hero just trying to jam up a high score. But, it seems like people like it. Or it seems like the general consensus of everything I've kind of just read through was people like using it as a supplement for their live or dry fire when they, due to, time, resources, whatever. So, anyway, like I said, AceVR is it's always makes for an interesting conversation. I get a lot of comments about it. Fire away on the discount code stuff. If you have your own discount code, you can drop it in the comments if you want. If not, that's okay too. But I again, a joke, but I think it's funny that several of these were making fun of having discount codes or saying, like, stating their opinion, but saying they do not have a discount code because, like I said, I do think that cheapens your opinion just a little bit. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Appreciate you watching. If you do have a discount code, you can drop it in the comments. Maybe people will use it. Maybe they won't. If you have thoughts on this, you want to chime in, feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of garbage if you feel like it. Either way, I appreciate you watching.